Over these past few years, the San Diego real estate market has seen some changes, and it's super important to know what's going on in the market right now, which is what we cover on this channel a lot. What is currently happening in the market? What can we expect over these next few months? What just happened a few months ago? But in this video, we're going to take a step back and look into the future a little bit. So, we're going to dive into what the San Diego real estate market looks like over the next 5 years, because most people who are looking to buy, it's a long-term commitment. It's not just like, yes, you have your house flippers, you have some people who do move in and do have to move out, some work change, whatever it might be, family stuff. But for the most part, you're usually living in the house 5, 10, 15 years. This is also going to be useful for sellers out there who are thinking maybe we're going to sell in a few years, but we've heard the market shifting, which it is a little bit, but it's nothing too crazy. There is a slight change in the San Diego real estate market, which we cover in a lot of our videos. So for a seller, should I sell right now? Do I have some time? How does it look 2, 3, 4 years out? That's what we're going to break down today. A new article came out. And in this article, they asked the question to a few people, including the chief economist for NAR, the National Association of Realtors. But there's also some other insight here. So this is a national article. We're going to break down what's happening right now and then give you the long-term outlook. But then we're also going to bring it back to San Diego and let you know how this relates to the San Diego real estate market. So as always, appreciate you guys tuning in. If you like the videos that we're making, just ask you for a quick subscribe. So we make weekly videos here all about the San Diego real estate market. And I'm Chris Erickson. And if you're thinking about making a move, we got a real estate crew right here in San Diego. Whether you're buying, selling, investing, whatever it might be, feel free to reach out. All of our contact info is right below. We got your back and make the move here in San Diego. One significant move we have seen recently is the mortgage rates. Last year, about this time, they were sitting about 7.5%. Now we're almost a full point below that, sitting right about 6.5%. But what's the market going to look like in the next 5 years? So now let's just jump into forecast for mortgage rates and types over the next 5 years. Lawrence Yoon is the chief economist for the National Association of Realtors. He says mortgage interest rates have likely crested, at least for the rest of 2024. He also noted that within 2 years, he says the rate should return to 5.5 to 6%. Now, the rates I just showed you, we're sitting already at 6.5%. So long term, who knows? Nobody knows what rates are going to be a year from now. A lot of people this year were saying the rates were going to drop significantly, but obviously, the Fed did not cut their rates a ton. The 10-year Treasury stayed elevated for the majority of the year until most recently, as we've seen it come down a little bit, which does have a big pull on mortgage rates here. And so going into the future, who really knows? But one thing he did note on here, as you are thinking about buying or you thinking about purchasing, he mentioned that he thinks that there's going to be an uptick, at least over the next year or two, of adjustable rate mortgages, which is one of the things that got the 2008 housing market in a lot of trouble, or the buildup to that, because that's the time when everybody was buying houses. Lending standards were a lot different back then, so it was a lot easier to get a loan. Nonetheless, a lot of those loans were out on the market when those rates did adjust. At that point, a lot of homeowners, whether it was first, second, third homes, whatever it might be, could not make those payments. So as you're out there, as you're researching, as you are planning for the future to potentially buy a home, talk to a lender, figure out what all these things mean, because there's a lot of different programs out there. But get educated before, that way when you're in the process, you don't have to make these decisions right away. So the safest route is likely the 30-year mortgage, where you lock that rate in, whatever it might be, for the next 30 years. Now you can, if rates did move down, great, maybe potentially refi. Now there's costs in that too. Does that make sense? If rates go up, it doesn't really affect you unless you did have that adjustable rate mortgage, because then you're going to bump up a little bit. So just think through all those as you are planning your move over these next 5 years. Now, predictions for home prices. UNC foresees no major changes in purchase price tags on a nationwide level next year, which, compared to the previous years where we were seeing these very big gains year over year in home prices, he's expecting it to kind of simmer out a little bit, kind of level out, as we have kind of seen here in San Diego. Now, over these past few years, year over year, we're still up, but it's definitely not the market where we are at. We're seeing a little bit more of a flatlining on that home price. Now, he says with fluctuations of only about 5% one way or the other. So if we take the median price of a single family home here in San Diego, it was $1,030,000. And we bring that up, let's just say it is appreciating 5%. So one way or the other, let's go up 5%. It's sitting about $1,080,000 $81,500. Now, if we bring that back and we just take 5% off of that, just to give you a little idea of if they did drop by 5%, let's just see where that leads us. And it's leading us to under $1 million price point here in San Diego, $978,500. But overall, in 5 years, he expects prices to have appreciated a total of 15 to 25%. So if you average that out, if you're going on the high end, 5% a year, which is somewhat of a more normalized market here in San Diego. And McBride, who is the chief financial advisor for Bankrate, who made this article right here, predicts home prices will average low to mid single digit annual appreciation over the next 5 years, which is a normal market, which is not where we have that frenzy that we did have during the pandemic, where there was 10, 15, 20 people for every home that came on the market. Now, inventory was super low. Inventory is still low. So where does that lead us? Now we're trending in the right direction right now where the number of buyers out there may be a little bit less than where we have been in the past, which is causing inventory, the number of homes to grow a little bit. So there's not necessarily a ton more homes coming on the market, but those homes are sitting a little bit longer to build a little bit of that inventory. So if that continues over the next 5 years, we can see definitely a more normalized market back to kind of that 2019 timeframe. So this next question, will the housing market crash? Obviously, in our recent history, 2008 to 2012 with the housing market here in San Diego, there could definitely be a lot of fear out there because you're seeing what happened then, you're hearing what's happened in the news right now, potential recession, what's going on with this. There's just a lot of factors. But during that time, obviously, it was a way different market. The real estate market was one of the main causes for that crash, causing a decent amount of pain in the San Diego real estate market that did take quite a while to recover. Now, right now, could there be something that we're not thinking of that could happen going forward that could affect the San Diego home prices? And he noted that while it may show bubble-like characteristics, like we did see going up to that 2007 mark before we did crest and start seeing a decline in home prices, Yoon does not expect the residential real estate market to burst. He does predict that the sales will be at a low point next year, but also foresees a gradual increase afterward. So the actual number of sales. Right now, the number of sales total in San Diego is very low. So the number of homes that are sold, a lot of that is due to the number of homes on the market. There's just not enough compared to how many buyers there has been over these past few years. The lock-in effect, if you've heard about that, where everybody has refied over these past few years, I've done it myself. It just, you have this rate, you have a 3% mortgage, and you're thinking about selling, and you're like, oh, well, my interest rate's going to go up. Obviously, the housing prices have gone up. So does it make sense, or should I just stay here? Now, a lot of times it's life events that do make people move, but he's predicting that we will see that increase over these next few years. And despite today's higher mortgage rates, home prices are still strong. And even if they do decline 5 or 10% next year, that's nowhere close to crashing. Now, what is crashing? How do we define that? There's no definite definition. Obviously, during 2007, that was a real estate market crash. But at what percentage rate does it actually crash? Let's just put a mark on that at 20%. So I just was watching a video and they were talking about the Austin real estate market or nation. He brought up the Austin real estate market. I think they were about 18, 19% from the peak of 2022 to where they are now, the housing prices. And that's definitely on the brink. But part of that reason is that's totally different market. And part of that is because a crash happens with oversupply. Now, when you have Austin, they're building a lot more than right here in San Diego. And that's what he notes. A 30% decrease will not happen because there isn't enough inventory. And so will we shift into a buyer's market? Yoon expects the overall seller's market to continue as long as housing inventory remains low. So let's just check this, the market action index right now, right here in San Diego. Just a number gauging how's the market. Are we in a seller's market? Are we in a buyer's market? You can see last month on the bottom here, we're actually up a little bit from last month. So it's a little more competitive right here in San Diego this month as compared to last month. Now condos is basically the same story, but not as heavy as a seller's market. But let's see where inventory is. Right now here in San Diego, 2,644 homes on the market. Well above where we were last year at 1,500, right around there, right at shy of 1,600. Not quite where we were in 2022 when interest rates did rise. You can see supply jump very quickly right here, the number of homes, the inventory of homes on the market. Now, as you go back here, we're definitely above 20 and 21. But if you go to this month and this week, August 30th, 2019, we're sitting about 4,436 homes on the market. So compare that to where we are right now, 4,436, 2,645. You can see that inventory right here in San Diego is still super low. I look at 2019, that was before the pandemic. That was just like a more normalized year. And until that number comes up right here in San Diego, it's still going to continue to be a seller's market. But 5 years out, he foresees a more balanced market. So not really a seller's market where they're getting 5, 10, 15 offers. Not really a buyer's market where you're getting significantly under list price, kind of like an even keel. Carolyn Feeney of Narrative Bend says the shift away from a seller's market has already begun. Now, it definitely is not where it was previously, and every market's a little bit different. Right here in San Diego, obviously still a seller's market, but certain areas, certain price points, certain homes are sitting on the market a lot longer than they had been in the past. But she also expects a balanced market within 5 years. And so now on to where will new homes be built and what kind? Now, relating that to the San Diego market, there are going to be some changes in some areas as the city of San Diego puts new rules into effect as to where new homes can be built or where they can expand on a lot. And there's an agent I follow on Instagram who took the front house, had a big yard, kept that, remodeled that, and then build kind of like a mini apartment complex in the backyard. Cool, modern, looks nice, but it's in like a single family neighborhood. So there are some of those changes going on where they're allowing additional building. You know, Hillcrest is working on some additional multifamily stuff where they are going to be able to build a little bit more. Not necessarily single family homes. Up in San Marcos for North County, they have a big chunk of the central area where they are going to be building over the next, 5 years or so. And so there's going to be certain little spots that will see a little bit more homes come on the market, a little bit more inventory. You'll see some more infill, which used to be maybe like growing grounds or a greenhouse or something like that, and basically graze that and put in new communities. But these are smaller communities. Fox Point Farms over in Encinitas as well is one. So you'll see a few of these kind of infills. But really here in San Diego, there's no huge developments. There's not a ton of homes coming on the market. So we're kind of in our own boat where certain markets, Boise's, Austin's, Florida's, they're going to have a lot more of that pressure coming from those types of housing, new construction coming on the market. But not necessarily that we're going to see that a ton right here in San Diego. And at the end here, they had some tips for preparing to buy a home. You can read through it if you want, but this one is super important. Focus on your local area. As we always say here, all real estate is super local, and not even in San Diego County as you're going micro to the cities, as you're going micro to the neighborhoods, price points within those neighborhoods. It's really important to keep up with what's going on in the market. That's why we make videos here every single week. But if you guys are thinking about making a move, whether it be in 5 days or 5 years, feel free to reach out. Let's start that conversation and get the ball rolling and make sure you're educated and taken care of through the entire process. So as always, I'm Chris Erickson. We got a real estate crew right here in San Diego. All of our contact info is right below. Feel free to reach out because we got your back when making the move here in San Diego.